You're welcome back to my channel. I am G-Joy. In today's video, we are going to be learning how to calculate the 90-degree flare, the 180, the 270, and of course, I know we are already familiar with the 360 degrees flare. So we'll be using the board to do our calculation. I'll be showing you how to fold the fabric, but we'll be using the paper to cut it out. I know we are all familiar with 360 degrees, 720 degrees, 1440 and 1080. But many of us don't know how to cut 90 degrees, 180 and 270. Maybe some are familiar with 180, but 90 and 270 maybe somehow. So let's see how it is being done. Let's go to the board. So a flare is simply a circle, and we can cut this circle in our outfits, around our waist, around our arm, our knee, and so on, even our neck. So we want to learn how to cut 90 degrees, 180, 270 and 360. But first of all, let's understand the concept of a 360. A full circle is a 360 degrees all around, and this 360 degrees, there is a formula for calculating a circle circumference that is around it, and that formula is circumference is equals to 2 pi r. Okay, c is the circumference, pi is usually a constant, and then we are left to calculate for r. We are asked to find r. So if you already know the circumference, then you can easily calculate r. So for this illustration class, the c is going to be the waist, which is, for this illustration, we are using 25 inches. So first of all, we'll make r the subject of the formula. To make r the subject of the formula, we divide both sides by this 2 pi to make r to be alone. So if we divide both sides by 2 pi, this will cancel this, and r will be c over 2 pi. And for this illustration purpose, our c is the waist, which is 25. And then pi is a constant in mathematics, which is 3.142, but usually stop at 2 decimal place, 3.14. So if you multiply this by this, we have 6.28, and that is why we are fond of dividing by 6.28. I mean, some of us may be wondering, why do we always use 6.28? It is a standard because of this formula. So when you want to calculate a 360 degree flare, you simply just divide your waist by 6.28. That is how it is being calculated. And when you divide this 25 by 6.28, you are going to have 3.98. So take note of that, because we'll be using it. So our radius in this case is 3.98. So this is for a 360 degree flare, which is a full circle. Now we want to look at the other parts of the circle. I know we may be familiar with 720. 720 is 360 times 2, 1080, 360 times 3, 1440, 360 times 4. But today we want to look at the 90, the 180, the 270. So how do we calculate it? How do we fold our fabric? How do we cut it out? That is what we are going to be looking at. So to do that, this circle, we are going to divide it into 4 equal parts. So we divide the circle into 4 equal parts. So if we divide 360 by 4, 360 degrees by 4. That is going to give us 90 degrees. So it means that each of these is 90. So you have 90, 90, 90, 90. And by the time you sum all of them together, you are going to have 360 degrees. So if you want to cut a flare that is 90, you see it's from here to here, how do you now cut it? So that is what we want to learn. So first of all, we are going to calculate our radius. After calculating our radius, we are going to now determine how to fold our fabric. Now let's also take this 360 in square form. In square form, we are going to have this is what we are going to have in square form. So for a 360 degree, we are making use of all of them because each of them is 90. So you have 90, 90, 90, 90. That is why when you want to cut a 360 degree flare, you have to fold it into 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You fold it into 2 and then you fold again. I'll just quickly show you that of the 360 and then we move to 90. So before I show you on fabric, apart from knowing the radius, to know the amount of fabric to put on fold, let me just say fabric to fold. You'll be adding radius plus the flare length. Radius plus the flare length. So in this case, the radius is 3.98. Then you now determine the length of flare. Your length of flare can be 6, it can be 5, depends on what you want to use it for. So assuming our length of flare is 6, it means that our total will be 9.98. And of course, we can just round it up to 10. Okay, so to know the amount of fabric to put on fold, we'll have 10, 10. So imagine you first of all have a square, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, 10. Of course, here a square, all the sides are equal, so you have 10, 10, 10. Now, because this is 360, I want to fold into 4. So we'll have 10 here, another 10 here. You see 10, 10, then another 10 here. So that means we are going to be folding 20 by 20 to be able to get this 10 by 10 because we want to fold into 4. So it means that we'll have 10 plus 10, which is 20. So we are going to have 20 by 20. We'll have 20 inches by 20 inches. So I'll just show you that on fabric and also on I'll just demonstrate on the paper. This is a fabric. We've already known that it is 20 by 20. So what you do is to take your tape and then you measure 20. These are 20. Okay, so you measure 20, then you also measure 20 here on this side, and then you're going to have a square. So if you measure 20 by 20, you're going to have something like this. You now fold it. You fold it into 2 first, and then you fold again into 4. So let me show you that on our paper representing the fabric. You see is long. So first of all, you measure out the 20 by 20. Measure out 20. Then on this side it's going to be a square, so you also mark 20. You also mark 20 this way. You just mark it in a square form and cut it out. So, having marked it out, I'm going to cut. You can use a ruler to join it since it is paper. You can just use a ruler to join here. Or you simply use your eye or whatever. So let me just put a dot. So this is where we are cutting. And simply use your eyeball. You know, of course, on fabric, if you want to mark, you use your tailor's chalk to mark on fabric. So this is what it will look like, and then this is 20 by 20, and then we fold into 4 because it is a 360. So you fold into 2 first, and then you fold again like this. Okay. So this is how you fold it. So we have folded into 4. So you see that each of them is 90. This is 90, 90, 90, 90. So fold into 2 and then you fold again. And then the radius is 3.98. Which is, we're gonna approximate it as 4, and then the length of flare is 6. So here is our length of flare, 6. So we just mark out the radius. You put your tape at the corner, where you have this 4. Just put your tape like this, and then you mark the radius. Mark the radius. So you can be marking the radius and the length together. You know the length is 10, like this. You mark the radius, you mark the length. You mark the radius, you mark the length. The length is 6. When you add 6 to the radius, mark the length, or you just finish marking the radius first like this, and then you mark the length. Mark 6. So whichever way you want to do, you will still get the same thing. And of course, when you are cutting on your fabric, you have to add allowance to the upper part. You add allowance here, 1/2 inch allowance, and then you also add allowance to this down part. Okay, but I'm going to be cutting without the allowance. So I'll just cut here. Since you are not going to be sewing, you're going to put it around the mannequin like that. So first of all, before you cut, let's just measure what you have. So you see, it's more than we have 7. Okay, let's measure again. We have 6.5, which is 13, which is 26. So it will be enough. The waist is 25, so that means the other extra will be for the zipper allowance. If you don't want to have the extra, you want to have exactly 25, then you reduce the way you are going to cut the radius. So this is 360. You see it, and then we cut one side open. We are going to put around the waist. So we'll be putting it on the mannequin later. So let's just set this aside and go to the next, which is 90. Next I want to look at is a 90-degree flare. Here to here. So that is 90 over 360. And then by the time we cancel out 90 here 1, 90 here 4, we're going to have 1 over 4. Okay, so remember that we already calculated radius for a full circle, which we got radius equals to 3.98. This was what we got as our radius. So if you want to now calculate the 90 degrees, what you simply do is that you just, to this radius, you just say divide by 1 over 4. And of course in mathematics, when you are dividing like this, to change this division to multiplication, you have to alternate this between the numerator and the denominator. The denominator will become numerator and numerator will become denominator. This will come this way and this will go up. So you will now have 3.98. To change this sign, times, you now have times 4. 4 times 8, 32. Put down 2, carry 3. 4 times 9 is 36. 36 plus 3, you have 39. So you put down 9 and then you carry this 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 3, you are going to have 15. So you have 15.92 inches. And of course, we are going to add this to our length of flare. Our flare length that we are using for this illustration is 6 inches. 6 inches. So by the time we add 15.92 to 6, we are going to be having 21.92. to have a allowance for zipper, you can simply cut 22. Now if you don't want to do it like this, another way you can do it is from the waist. You know the radius. You know radius is the circumference, which is the waist. We are dividing waist by 6.28. okay, and in this case our waist is 25 over 6.28. okay, so just say waist divided by 6.28, then divide 1/4. So by the time you multiply, you change this to multiplication the way we did before. This will come up, so you're going to have waist over 6.28 times 4/1, okay, which is also waist times 4, and the waist in this case that we are using is 25. So 25 times 4. So use the waist to multiply 4 first before you divide by 6.28. So by the time you do it, you are going to still get this same answer. 25 times 4, you are going to have 100. 100 divided by 6.28 will give you 15.92, which is the same thing as this. So whichever one you want to use, you can get the 360, you can get the radius of the waist first. After getting the radius of the waist, then you multiply by 4, or you multiply your waist circumference by 4 first before dividing by 6.28. So those are the two ways that you can calculate it. So because it's a 90 degree, so it is only here that we are interested in. So that means we will not be folding the fabric. As you can see, 90 is just here like this, just 1/4 of the full circle, 1/4 like this. So there is no folding, okay. You just simply measure your radius. You measure your radius from the corner, from these two corners. Measure your radius this way, measure your radius this way. You mark it, measure the radius around the middle, then get your flare length, and then you cut out. So let me show you that on fabric. So this is what we mean. Because it's a 90 degree flare, we will not, because it's a 90 degree flare, there is no folding. You just simply measure out what you need. In this case, we need 15.92 plus the flare length. Flare length is 6 inches, so we need around 22 by 22. So what you do is just to simply measure. Just measure 22 inches by 22, and then you cut it out like a square. I'll show you that on paper. This is the fabric. We are going to measure out 22 inches by 22. From one corner here, measure 22. You also mark it this way. When you cut it out, it's going to be a square. So just do it to mark it. then you can, let me get a ruler. You can just simply use a ruler. This ruler is in inches, so you see you have 22. You also you just mark 22 rounds. Sorry, this table is small, that is why I'm turning it on. This is my ironing table. I want to use here for I don't want to go to the different place for the class. If not, I'll go to the dining table. It means that I have to be moving up and down. So this is our 22 by 22. So there is no folding. So what you do is that from the corner here, you just mark the radius. The radius is 15.92, which we can approximate to 16, so that we can have an allowance for the zipper. So and then the flare length is 6. So if we have 16, this is our 16. You see that the radius is quite long, so that we can get it. Then from here is our flare length, which is 6 inches. So like we did before, from this corner you can mark the radius and the length at the same time. The radius is 16, length is 22. Radius is 16, length is 22. If you don't want to do that, you can simply just mark only the radius first. If you don't want to mark radius and the length at the same time, you mark only the radius first, like this. Making sure that the tape is always at this corner at all times. Okay. And then now mark the length. This is already the length, 6 inches. So from the radius, you will not be marking lengths if you don't want to mark both of them together. So whichever one you choose to do, to give you the same thing. And then we are going to cut out around the radius. So you are cutting the exact because you are not adding any sewing allowance, but if you are sewing, ensure to add ½ inch up and down. So I don't want to have any, try to cut along your mark. Okay, do you want to have any shortage? So this is our 90-degree flame. You see the way it appears. We're going to be putting it on the mannequin, but let's just finish cutting off. So this is 90 degrees. And of course this is 360. So let's see what the others will look like. So the next one I want to look at is 180. This time around, 180 is 90 plus another 90. So we are going to be looking at this part, which is cutting the circle into two. So here is 180, here is another 180. So 180 over 360 will give us 1 over 2. And then the radius that we are working with, don't forget we are working with a radius of 3.98. So you simply divide radius 3.98 divided by half. And then just like we did before, to change this sign to multiplication, we are going to have 3.98 times 2. 2 times 8, 16, carry 1. 2 times 9, 18 plus 1, 19, carry 1. 2 times 3, 6 plus 1, 7. So if you do not want to do it like this, the waist over 6.28, which is the radius, so you now divide by 1 over 2. So that means you multiply the waist by 2 first before dividing by 6.28. And in this case, our waist is 25. So 25 times 2 before we divide by 6.28. 25 by 2 is 50. So 50 divided by 6.28. We are going to have this same 7.96. And then to know what to fold, we'll add our flare length. The flare length you are working with is 6, so 7.96 plus 6. So we can approximate this to 8. So 8 plus 6 will give us 14. Okay. So to know what to fold, we are going to use this to illustrate. So this time around, we are not working with 90. We are working with 2 of 90. Okay, which is 180. So by the time you add this 90 plus another 90, you are going to have 180. So to fold your fabric, here is going to be 14. Here will be 14. So we'll have another 14. Okay, of course here will be 14. So 14 plus 14 is 28. So it means that we are going to have to fold our fabric, we are going to be folding 28 inches by 14, because it's going to pass here. Are you seeing it? It will be 28 by 14. So let's see how it looks like on fabric. So on fabric, you take your tape, you measure out 28 inches. This is 28. But on this side, you will measure out 14. Okay, you measure out 14 here, you measure out 28 here. So after measuring 14 here and 28 here, this side that have 28, this side that have 28, yes, 28. So the side that have 28 is what you are going to fold into two like this. It's what you are going to fold into two like this. So you can go ahead and mark the radius, or you can fold this again in a form of to be like a triangle like this. So if you do that, you are still going to get the same thing. Okay, so it is either you just go ahead and mark out your radius here and here, or now we fold this. This is the one that we are used to, the half circle, folding it like a triangle. So let's see how it is done on paper. So on paper, one side you have 14 and on the other side you have 28. So here's our 28. Mark 14. Mark 14. So I just roll that so that we can cut out. So cut out. So this is 14 by 28. Then you fold it into 2. You fold it into 2 like this. So the one we are familiar with, after folding like this come and bring it to this side like this, and then you can now go ahead and mark. That is the one how to fold a half circle into 2 like this, and then you bring it like this. Then you can now mark the radius. You can now mark the radius. The radius is 7.96. If we approximate that, that will be 8. And then our length is 14, is 6, which if you add that to that, it will become 14. So you have 8, you have 14. So you have from here like this, and then from here. So let's see what it looks like if you just simply fold direct. So another way to also cut it is after getting your into 2 like this, the next thing is to mark out the radius. The radius is 8. and 14. With the tape still at this corner, remove it. 8, 14. So if you don't want to mark it like that, you can mark only the radius first. And then you now mark the length of flame. 6. So whichever one you decide to do, you see, still the same thing. So let me open the other side. I will mark to see. You see that when you fold it like that, you see that it's the same. You see it. So let's cut it out. So this is a 180-degree flame. So let's see the final one, which is 270. We now have 1, 2, 3. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, that is 3 over 4. So 270 over 360. If you 9 here is 3, 9 here is 4, so I have 3 over 4. So still applying it to our calculation. How do you calculate it? From this first method, the radius you are still working with is 3.98. Just the same way we divided by half. This time around, we are going to be dividing by 3 over 4. And then to convert this division to multiplication, the numerator will come down, the denominator will go up. So the radius becomes 3.98 times 4 over 3. Okay, and by the time we multiply this and divide by 3, you're going to have 5.30. So you can multiply that out. Okay, so let's see. 3.98 times 4, 32, carry 3. 4 times this is 36. 39, carry 3. 12, that is 15. So 15.92 divided by 3, you're going to have 5.30. So if you don't want to do it like this, you can simply go from the waist divided by 6.28. you say divide by 3 over 4. So by the time you invert this, you are going to have waist over 6.28 times 4 over 3, and the waist is 25. So 25 over 6.28 times 4 over 3. So you multiply this together, you have 100. Multiply this. 3 times 8, 24, carry 2. 3 times 2, 6, plus 2, 8. 3 times 6, 18. So you have 100 divided by 18.84, and by the time you divide that, you are going to have this 5.30. And then to know the fabric to put on fold, we'll be adding this to 6. Okay, but take note, we are not just making use of 1 2 now, we still have another one to make it 270. So we have this and then we have this. Okay, and of course you know that you cannot cut your fabric like this. If you can cut your fabric like this, no problem, but if not, 5.30 plus 6 is going to give us 11.30, which if we take to the nearest, it will be 11.5, so that we can have allowance for the zipper. So here is supposed to be 11.5, 11.5, 11.5. So we can simply bring this and add it here. Okay, so in that case, we now have another one like this. So we can make the 3 of them to be on a line like this. So if you do that, here will be 11.5, and then you add all this together. This plus this is 23 plus 11.5, that is 34.5. Okay, so if your fabric cannot get this length, what you do is that just cut out the 90, cut it out, then cut out the 180, then put all of them together before you now mark it out. This is what I mean. To get the full, we need 34.5, which is like a yard. Okay, and then the other side will be 11.5. So what you are going to do is that you get your fabric like this, then you can simply mark 11.5 on this side. You mark 11.5 here. After that, you now mark 34.5, 34.5, which is like 35. Okay, but after measuring like that, you are going to fold it into 3, because we have 90, 90, 90. So you fold 11.5. This is 11.5. So you fold this one, fold this side in like this, and then you fold this again. We now have into 3 like this. 1 2 3. So let me show you that on paper. So this is what I mean. You get 34. You get 34.5 on this side. This paper is not up to, so I'm going to be adding to the paper. Okay. So this is what we have. This is 11.5, and then the full length. The full length is 34. From what we calculated 34.5. So just cut out the extra. So because it's 270, it means 90 in 3 places. So 11.5. Let's see the 11.5 here. Okay, here it's also 11.5. Do you see? So let me mark it here so I can have a straight line. So I'm going to be folding. So once you've gotten it like this, so I'm going to fold it into 3. You fold this like this first. And then you fold this again. Then you fold here. So this is what you are going to have. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3. And then you get the corner. You get the corner, you mark your radius and then leave out the length. The radius you are working with is 5.30. 5.30. So let me mark it at 5.25. And then the length is, the flare length is 6 inches. And there with the length. So we are going to cut it out and see what it looks like. So don't forget, if you are cutting on your fabric, add allowance here and add allowance here. So this is what you are going to have. So this is 180, then plus the 90. So you now add. So make sure you add allowance so that you'll be able to join. So you need to add allowance so that you can join. Okay, so I'll just be using the masking tape now to join. So when you add sewing allowance, you now join here together. So let me use masking tape to join, to do the joining. So this is 270-degree flare. So you see how the shape is looking like. So let me show you on the board. So the 270, if this is not there, so this is what it's looking like, here to here. That is like this. So if you want it to be one piece without you joining your fabric, then you can cut it like this. So you make here, or you just cut a full one first and now remove here. That means you make this side 23 inches. Here will be 23 inches. Here will be 23 inches. But here will be 11.5. Okay, that means you're going to cut out this part. Here is 11.5. You cut out this part. Okay, that's where they will be together. So let's see what they look like on the mannequin. So here is our 90-degree flare. 90 degrees. So here is 180 degrees. You see how the 180 is. So here is 270-degree flare. See how the 270 looks like, fuller than the 180. And here is the final one, 360. So we have come to the end of these tutorials. I hope now you now know how to calculate and draft 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270, and of course the 360. So I hope you find these tutorials helpful, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up, just like my video, comment on my video, and please share my video. And also to support me, just subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I post a new video. I make videos every week. So until next time when I come your way again, I remain G Joy. Have a great day.